This is a new image. This is not from WandaVision, but this is her outfit from, if you remember, episode I think 5 or 6 of WandaVision, when Billy and Tommy are first born. If you remember her like kind of rocking both cradles at the same time with this crazy outfit. Welcome back to the Break Room. I'm John Costa, and today is our headline show. We got our first look at Agatha, Darkhold Diaries, Coven of Chaos, the other one, House of Harkness.
Oh, God.
Agatha All Along? I think that's what's going to end up being called. We've got some DC news, a new writer for a big Marvel movie. We're going to talk about all of it and more. But joining me today, Hector Navarro.
Hi.
Hello. And Jay Washington.
What's that? Shout out to the DMs I get that say people be staring at my eyes and like the smile and everything. Ladies, I see you. I appreciate you.
Jay, question for you.
Real talk. There's a lot of. I love doing the Break Room with a Jay Washington because like there's a lot of comments about how damn handsome and sexy he is, and it's great. It's fantastic.
That's why
I just need y'all to be in my area, and they be like, "Yo, why don't you come through?"
I know.
Like it be so many
Texas and
cannot,
stuff, right?
You cannot fuck fans.
Come on.
It is not allowed.
Come on.
Look,
it's not allowed.
Just tell me. Look, here's the thing. Tell me you're not a fan, and then you want to. And here we go.
Let's start with the news from our favorite corner of the superhero universe, the Spumsy.
Oh.
The Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters.
Oh, that's right.
Spumsy. Spell it out, Alex, please. You don't have to do that.
Spumsy.
I didn't make it up.
That's what it's called.
I didn't make it up. Tom Hardy, our Venom.
Okay.
Took to Instagram to announce that Venom 3 has started filming again. It was filming in June, July, and then it got shut down because of Jay Washington's strike.
Stop. Because of the incredibly valid SAG-AFTRA strike. That's what it was.
That's right. But the big detail here is that he was calling it The Last Dance.
Is Michael Jordan in this? He's
That's
taking
right.
it personal. I need to know.
It's actually just Space Jam 3, and the aliens this time
That'd be great.
are big, black, and scary.
Yeah.
Wait, hold the fuck on. The aliens are what?
I said what I said, Jay.
Oh my God.
Tell me that's not what Venom looks like.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
But see, now, when you said that after mentioning The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, it felt racist. That's the thing.
Well,
as opposed, because you're saying the Monstars were not big, black, and scary, but Venom, the alien symbiote, technically speaking, when you describe Venom, he is big. He's like very tall.
Yeah.
He's black.
That's right.
And he's kind of scary with the teeth and everything. So, weird choice
tongue?
of words, John. Weird choice of words.
big tongue.
All right, maybe hashtag fire John.
Buy a shirt. Shop.
Oh, boy.
This show's going off great. Well,
Yeah,
hey,
I know.
well, maybe that's not the title of the film. Does it seem like this might be a send-off for Tom Hardy's portrayal of the character?
Yes, John, if we can get the show back on the rails,
Yep.
the answer is yes.
Okay.
I was saying before we started rolling that I think it is going to be Tom Hardy's last movie, and Jay, you were like, it's not going to be his last.
I think it's his last. It's his last movie.
Venom movie?
Yes,
Okay.
but I don't think it's his last appearance.
As Venom?
I think he
Where's he going to show up?
when they do this convergence and whatever Spider-Man 4 is.
Oh, man. I still don't buy that either.
Or Secret Wars. I think he just
Maybe
shows
that.
up.
Maybe that.
Either way,
Right,
but I don't
right,
think
right.
I don't think we get another full movie with him.
Okay.
I think we get another appearance. I think that's the thing. People always hear the words "last movie" and think that means that's the end of that person as their
Like
character.
Iron Man 3 was the last Iron Man
movie, right?
Robert
We got
Downey Jr.
was around this bitch
was around
for years.
for a long time after that, yeah.
And granted, yes, they renegotiated his contract and whatnot.
Sure.
But I think we get him again in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Because remember, the symbiote is now in our Prime universe.
We're going to talk about some of these post-credit scenes here in a second.
You've got a hot,
that's my
spicy
question
take.
is like,
Yeah.
will it ever come back?
It depends on which one it is. Before, again, we started rolling, John was like, is this post-credit thing that we're going to talk about later, is it just included with like Hercules, Clea, all these MCU post-credit things that you were like, we're never going to see them again?
No.
And I'm on the side of...
Where's Michael Mando's Scorpion?
Oh, I know. I'd love to see him come back from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Bring him back.
I mean, I think Well, here's the deal. He's in prison with Adrian Toomes, but then the Sony people took Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes out of that scenario.
Yes, they did.
So now if Marvel Studios does want to revisit that, they're like, we're going to have to like find a way to like, wait for Sony to put Michael Keaton
back in jail.
Vulture back in prison they're going to have to do a flashback to explain that they like chatted with one another. I don't know. But Jay, do you have a take on this?
Yeah, I think we're expecting to see a lot of post-credit characters. This has been the issue we've seen post-Endgame, period. And yes, we know that Sony is its own universe, right?
I know.
It's its own thing. We get it because we all saw that Madam Web trailer. That's how we know it's its own world.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that we're expecting to see post-credit characters back so quick, like where would a Hercules fit in right now?
Sure.
If we saw him, where would he fit?
Honestly, like nowhere, maybe as a stretch, maybe in like an Eternals sequel, but there's been no official Eternals 2 or Thor 5
announcements.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Clea only
By
fits.
the way, we're not talking about this today, but the crazy news that Taika Waititi was basically like, I never really wanted to do a Thor. Maybe we'll get
I
into
do
it
want to
on
talk
the
about
other
that
side of
because
the break.
I had a thought on that as it relates to the Agatha thing.
Sorry.
Once we
Okay,
get,
no worries.
Once we get to that.
It's
all connected.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It's like AT&T, old school. It's all connected. Those are old school commercials for y'all. Just for those who don't know, I aged the fuck out myself.
Imprint jam. Commercial.
But I think you got to look like again when you talk about a Clea, could she pop up in Agatha? Could she be mentioned there? Right, possibly. Right. But I think we're just rushing. And I'm not saying just you. I think we, as a collective, are like, well, we saw these people. When do we see them next?
Right.
And we don't, as I always keep saying, we don't let the story play out because we were spoon-fed everything and we know what happened in the first 3 phases. We think everything needs to be told to us right here, right now. No wait, no build-up.
Right.
And granted, yes, everybody may not come back. This is true. But even if they are, there has to be reasons for them to come back. You just can't. Look, I wouldn't want to be watching the Marvels, then all of a sudden, here come Hercules.
Right. It has to fit in with whatever the project is. And going back to the Tom Hardy thing, I expect the little symbiote that stayed behind to link up with the Tom Holland Peter Parker before I expect Tom Hardy Eddie Brock to interact with the Peter Parker. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think Spider-Man 4 is going to be... Here's my take: is it's going to be Peter Parker being Spider-Man, street level stuff. The rumors are that he's going to try to take on Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin. I think they're setting up Kingpin to do that. I think Charlie Cox Daredevil is going to make an appearance. And I think the only reason we saw a rumor of, and then the Sony characters are going to merge. Morbius is going to be there. Venom is going to be there. Kraven the Hunter is going to be there. I think the only reason we heard those rumors...
Kraven the Hunter is a movie that was supposed to come out that's got pushed to next year.
Sure. Again. And I think the only reason we are hearing those rumors is because, frankly, with the Secret Wars stuff and with some already teases of those universes with Tom Hardy showing up in No Way Home, I think that, if anything, Marvel Studios may find a way to kind of close that door and maybe have a cameo appearance like what you're saying. Versus Marvel Studios once again doing a multiversal story for Spider-Man 4 the way they did for No Way Home. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's also,
I mean, they can close and kill off the Fox universe, which they're about to do with Deadpool.
I think they are gonna do that.
They're killing off the Fox universe with Deadpool, right?
That's the Kelsey Grammer of it. Should we skip to that? No, let's save it. But that's
that's that. So when you got that, so when you go back to Venom, they can figure out, look, let's close this off with, like you said, Secret Wars, boom. But here's the problem. Amy Pascal and all of them over at Sony have realized how much money they can quote unquote make, potentially make.
Yeah, they're going to keep doing
They're going to keep doing stuff where there's all these other universes and there's Spider-Man adjacent.
Here's my problem.
Okay.
Here's my problem.
Okay.
You're right. They are printing money with this bumsy crap.
Yeah.
If they made a partnership with Marvel Studios,
that's what I'm saying.
If they made a partnership with Marvel. What is Spider-Man No Way Home? The third, fourth, fifth best, highest grossing movie of all time?
Yeah,
right.
Like
Right.
You know, I don't think that Kevin Feige wants to make Morbius 2.
No.
But like, if Amy Pascal, the leadership at Sony was smart, I think that they would just say like, here's what we want. You can have Spider-Man in your movies, but you need to also be making one co-production with Sony a year.
But that is what Spider-Man is basically, right?
Well, no, because
you said one per year.
But I think what your Silk movie with Marvel. Make your Madam Web movie with Marvel.
That's what John is saying, is still let Marvel Studios sort of help with the creative side.
Okay, I got what you're saying. Yeah.
Because it's like, imagine if Sony were to do a Michael Keaton Vulture as the lead, and he has his own Sinister Six, but they bring back Jake Gyllenhaal and it's Mysterio, and then they start setting up like with
Bokeem Woodbine as the Shocker.
That's what I'm saying.
Bring him back.
And Scorpion,
Yes.
and even like the tease of like the chameleon character that was in Far From
Yeah,
Home.
the bus driver.
The bus driver. Like if they started to try to play with
You
those.
got Aaron Davis in your
That's
Marvel
what I'm
universe.
saying.
We
That's
know
what
we
I'm
need a
saying.
Miles Morales.
Donald Glover could even lead a Prowler film. Like that could happen if they were to work collaboratively with Marvel Studios.
I think they make a lot more money though.
Just as much, and I agree, but I also think, and this is because it's going to answer my own question to an extent, but I'll say it for the people.
Yeah.
Are these characters and things like that worth a full story, or are they Disney Plus series? Like not extended ass movies,
right.
we were getting,
but a series,
like a little mini series.
I think it depends on what the character is, depends on what the pitch is. I feel like you could make an argument for a series or movie depending on what it is. If we're seeing like Madam Web, one prominent female character that hasn't really been done yet. Are you okay? Do we need some more water? It's
you okay. All right?
Have some mandatory fun.
Learn to swallow. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Black Cat. Felicia Hardy.
Yes.
Right? Like, what if Sony, in collaboration with Marvel Studios...
we were supposed to get Silver and Black. Gina Prince Bythewood was supposed to have done that.
Exactly. But maybe in Spider-Man 4, if Zendaya's MJ isn't as prominent, at least in the beginning of the story, because Peter's like trying to protect her, right? Going off of the last film, if a Felicia Hardy is introduced, just to kind of be like, hi, Peter, or a Black Cat is introduced and Spider-Man's kind of flirting with her, but then it still ends up with Zendaya coming in and that's where the story goes. Sony could be like, thank you for setting up a Black Cat film. We'll make that film then as a co-production, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe that can work. I would certainly prefer that versus Morbius 2, Morbius 3, Craven 2. I don't care about. They're not great.
We're getting just to bring us back here. We're getting this Venom 3 film.
Yeah.
It's potentially called The Last Dance. We're not necessarily official.
That'd be great.
But
sure.
That maybe tells me that could potentially be the end of. Hold on one second.
Yes.
The end of Eddie Brock.
Yes.
But not necessarily the end of Venom, right?
Yes,
and that might be a way for Marvel Studios to
bring
their own video, their own Venom in.
Right.
I don't think you want
Tony
MCU's Tony Revolori.
I mean, dude, he's aware of it. Tony's been like, I'm
Tony's
down.
been open about
someone I love and is a friend of the channel.
Yeah. Tony's a good dude.
That would be cool. That would be a cool take. His Agent Venom. What were you gonna say?
If it's called The Last Dance, I just want Venom to do one thing. Venom partied his ass off and came out
at a rave.
He was at a rave, right?
Yeah.
Since we know Venom likes to have fun in life, Venom in The Last Dance needs to be the officiant for Larsa Pippen and Marcus Jordan's wedding.
Okay.
He needs to marry since it's called The Last Dance.
I thought you were gonna say he needs to fight Hypno Hustler or something. Some musical theme Spider-Man villain. No.
Is that project still happening?
I mean,
man, that was in and out real quick, just like El Muerte.
Was that also Donald Glover? Wasn't he doing
Hypno Hustler? Yeah, he was doing Hypno Hustler,
Let him do it. Okay,
all
sorry.
Right, so
spent too much time on Venom The Last Dance.
That's what's happening with Venom The Last Dance.
What's next?
We're going to spend a little less time on this story, I promise you.
Okay. This one's easy for me. Yeah.
A Detective Comics, DC. Shifting gears for 1 second. Constantine 2. This project was announced in September of 2022, before James Gunn and Peter Safran sort of officially took over DC Studios.
Right.
This was announced with Keanu Reeves attached to do a second one.
Yep.
Now, Francis Lawrence has a movie out. He's the director of some of those Hunger Games films and is the director of this new Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Cool.
Apparently a good film.
Great.
He says that he's returning to focus on developing the sequel with DC Keanu. Per The Hollywood Reporter, quote, the regime at DC changed and they've got their plans, but luckily, this is from Francis Lawrence, but luckily we've managed to wrangle some control and started working on some ideas for Constantine 2, which we're really excited about. We're probably going to start getting back together after Thanksgiving and dig back into it to try to crack it.
Great.
It's after Thanksgiving.
It's after Thanksgiving. Now, a couple things, right? The what are they? They're not calling them phases at DC. I can't remember what exactly. Chapter one.
Gods and Monsters.
This DC is called Gods and Monsters. Yeah. Do you think Constantine fits into that?
No.
Maybe, probably not. So this seems like it'll be an Elseworlds project akin to the Batman 2 Joker Fear Le Deux, whatever that fucking movie's called. I don't speak French.
Hey guys, remember there was supposed to be a Kal-El, Michael B. Jordan Superman movie?
Yeah.
Remember how that just disappeared out of nowhere?
Interesting.
They really looked at all those J.J. Abrams projects and were like, burn them all.
Burn them all.
Yeah. Well, listen, to be fair, I think this also ties into how, like, man, I didn't think I was going to have any thoughts on this, but I guess I do. I'm sorry. I think this also ties into, like, the TV show Superman and Lois also being canceled after the 4th season. I think DC and James Gunn and Peter Safran are being a little bit more protective over, like, the big sort of important characters. I think the Batman 2 was already in motion. My theory is that that's going to be the last one. I don't think.
Oh yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Even though it's $1 billion, and I think Joker 2 is also going to be the last of that. Even if it makes $1 billion, only because
you need those characters,
right? And those projects, those side Elseworld projects, I think they do influence what people see and think of those characters. Here's my take on that. I don't think that a Keanu Constantine movie is going to really mess with audiences' perception of John Constantine, like the DC Comics character,
or the TV character with Maddie Ryan.
Right, and I don't because I don't think Constantine. No offense to Constantine, I think he's like one of the best characters in comics. I don't think he's at that A-list level of a Batman, Superman. Right? You see what I'm saying? So I can see Warner Brothers going do Constantine 2, and it's really more of just like a Keanu project than it is like a DC project.
But also, if you look at what Gunn has laid out for Phase 1,
right,
you've got. I'll use these two particular topics, two particular projects, Creature Commandos and The Authority. It's letting you know it's going weird. It's going weird already.
Now, so Constantine can be weird,
right?
But it's also like, are they going to have to put Constantine in a Swamp Thing movie? Not necessarily.
And that's what I was about to bring up. Like, are we going to go, because that would make Chapter 2 about Justice League Dark. Or you get Swamp Thing, you get Zatanna, then you can bring them Constantine.
And then you can. So if I were Warner Brothers, I'd be like, dude, Keanu's so beloved. Let them make this movie, and then we'll get to our Constantine.
Here's my big problem.
Yeah.
Who's asking for this film?
Honestly, here's my answer to that. I think it's just Keanu Reeves fans. I think that's it. And
that's not enough.
I mean, fine, but also I think Keanu himself is just so beloved. He was the one who said on Colbert. When he was like, when he was asked by somebody, he's like, "You ever want to? Is there any movies you want to revisit?" And he was like,
Constantine. I'd visit Constantine.
Yeah, and it's like he's such a sweetheart. It's like let him make that movie. Like
he's great,
right?
He's great. I love him to death.
That's the answer of who's asking for this. It's Keanu himself.
If you had talked to me about this 2 weeks ago, and you had said, "Is that Constantine 2 movie coming out?" I would say, "There's no chance in hell that movie ever comes out."
Fine.
Now,
that's fine.
Francis Lawrence has directed Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That movie looks like it's going to outperform people's expectations.
It's crushing. So good for him.
And so now I think it's a little bit more likely that film happens.
Fine.
But I still think James and Safran are probably scratching their heads, being like,
"Well,
let's just see the script."
But here's the big thing you have to think about. This is the number one thing you have to think about when it comes to DC, and I hate that a lot of people don't want to think about this.
Yeah.
James Gunn's contract, as of right now, that we knew of, was 3 years from the date he signed it. Him and Safran signed it, right?
Yeah.
With James Gunn's plans, that means Superman Legacy has to succeed. If Superman Legacy doesn't succeed,
they'll change it.
They'll change
the plan.
Everything is going to change.
I know.
Now, granted, this cast that he's put out, and he's listed this full immense cast listing, and he's got every character in the DC universe that no one asked for.
Seems to be a success. Seems like it's going to. Well,
it seems to be, but I got some thoughts, James.
That's fine. That's fine. But to your point, like maybe Warner Brothers is still going, look, we need some backup plans. Right. We need to, if James Gunn's DCU isn't a huge hit with audiences or nerd guys, we need to be like, well, at least we made a Keanu Constantine movie and that made pretty good money.
And I know that the Suicide Squad was successful. People stop bringing, do me a favor when you bring up the Suicide Squad, stop bringing up the box office numbers because it was day and date. You cannot bring that up. It was day and date.
That's true.
That film also fucking slaps.
It's a damn. Then you have. Which camera am I looking at? Okay, cool. I keep seeing the Twitch on my peripheral.
You're fine.
Okay,
we got you.
Peacemaker is a success.
Yeah.
So he's going on to season 2 now. Granted, why he's making a Wallace series, I don't know, but he's got those things already. So people are rocking with him. But Superman, which is it has to be
the big show. It's a big show.
Before we even consider Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, Superman's a big show.
Which Muschietti's supposed to be getting ready to write that. Superman Legacy has to pop. If it doesn't, then none of this matters.
There you go.
It's going to be a good film.
Superman? I hope so.
Real quick, we want to shout out Fume for sponsoring today's episode of The Breakroom. If you're, the holiday season, is right here, right now.
God, John, just
Right?
Just
You
read
want me
it,
to just read?
I mean,
John, just read.
Oh, yeah.
do whatever you
I
want.
wasn't hired to read, okay?
Read the script, John, please.
And you know what comes after the holiday season? The
New Year's.
self-improvement season.
Yes, you're right.
Get a jump on self-improvement. If you're watching the show, you already have a bad habit.
Jesus
okay?
Christ.
But now you can turn a bad habit into a good one easily thanks to Fume.
Fume.
Fume, if you don't know what it is, makes it possible to replace your bad habits with good ones that you're free to enjoy. It is an innovative, award-nominated device, yay big, with no electronics, no vapor, no harmful chemicals. You put it in your mouth. Fume is completely natural and uses all natural ingredients to give you a burst of delicious flavored air. Look, the copy is being really vague right now. I'm just going to spell it out. If you have some kind of
vaping or smoking habit.
yeah, there you go. This is like a good oral fixation device. Fume is super fidgety, which is helpful for de-stressing while you break your old habit, because each device has this like adjustable airflow dial and is. Why is so funny about this?
I don't know.
It's designed with movable parts and magnets. So if that is like something that you think will help you kind of replace a bad habit,
anxiety,
this is for you. Fume has served over 150,000 customers and thousands of success stories, and there's no reason you can't be one of them. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits like this show by picking up the Journey Pack today. If you get a Journey Pack before December 1st, you only have a couple more days, you'll get an additional 20% off on top of the 10% off you already get by using the code New Rockstars. So what is that? That's like a 20
plus 10?
27% off.
No, that's 30.
No, it doesn't compound like that.
Oh, okay.
Head over to tryfum.com and use code New Rockstars to save up to 30% off today.
Whoa!
I guess it does work like that.
Sick. That's awesome.
Additionally, this is Jay.
I mean, what if? How about this, John?
Fucking losing it.
John,
over
how about
here.
if we let Jay tackle the next one?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so check out nerdriot.shop for a ton of great merchandise.
You can't do it.
I mean, I wanted to see if he could do it
Can't
and have it
fucking
not
do
be.
it. We don't hire Jay to read either.
No,
First of all, I can read, okay?
Let's see if there's like,
That's why you choking and dying over there.
Hey,
It's like when
check
you're-
out nerdriot.shop for a ton of great merch to celebrate some of the recent Marvel releases. I helped design this shirt.
Ooh.
I really like it. It's called
cool.
Best Bubs. There it is.
Just wanted to rub your tits.
Best Bubs.
Just wanted to rub his nipple on the
Wolverine-
Because he says bub,
Yeah.
and these guys are best buds.
Yeah.
This is obviously inspired off of that sort of iconic image from the Deadpool 3
Filming.
press, whatever.
Yeah.
And we stuck them in the void because we think that's where they're going to be. And I really like this shirt. You can grab a tee from Nerd Riot. This is also on a sweater, which is fun, and a phone case, and maybe an ornament.
Cool.
I don't know. We put it on a bunch of shit. Go to nerdriot.shop. It's a great way of supporting the channel. And type in code The Breakroom. It won't do anything, but
What?
you know what? Fuck it. Type in code The Breakroom and it'll give you something. Okay? Give me like 20 minutes after this airs to go set that up.
All right, great. Thank you.
Wow.
Cool.
Type in code Church Giggles and it'll give you something because that's what we got. We got those Church Giggles.
Someone please remind me to do this.
Okay, great.
All right, let's move on to Agatha, Darkhold Diaries. Not the final name of the show, I bet.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Marvel Disney Plus shows don't usually come out with
Now
physical
we got-
media,
we got
but
the Blu-ray baby.
both Loki season 1 and
excited.
WandaVision have gotten 4K steelbook releases.
And Mandalorian season 1.
Oh, I didn't realize
and
that.
season 2, I think.
Look at
Mandalorian.
that.
Very cool.
So if you're a fan of physical media like us,
yeah.
snag it.
Get 'em.
This WandaVision one comes out tomorrow, but a couple little pieces of promotion have come out, including a featurette for the upcoming Agatha show.
It's great.
It features Jack Schaefer, Mary Lavanos, Catherine Hahn, talking about how excited they are to give this character more of a spotlight. I loved one of the lines from Catherine Hahn. She was sort of like, Agatha would be fucking jazzed to get a spinoff. I think that's very funny and very true.
It's great. They had to bleep the F.
She didn't use
but-
the F.
No, I mean, they maybe cut around it. I don't know.
So, while including some footage from WandaVision, it also showed off some of our first shots from the spinoff. So, we have some images queued up here. Let's take a look at some of them because they're really interesting. So, here's one. This is our first look of Joe Locke as question mark.
We don't know.
We think Wiccan.
Jay thinks, Wiccan.
I think Wiccan,
Billy.
because again, if this is a Darkhold, everything's about the Darkhold. This is about witchcraft and things like that. And then there's supposedly a particular run that producer Evan was saying this may be pulling from. So if you can pull up Evan in his hole, maybe he can tell us about the run.
Evan, tell us about that comic book.
Oh, yeah. So there was a comic run for the Scarlet Witch called The Witch's Road. It's about the ghost of Agatha Harkness coming to visit Wanda and being like, there's a disturbance in the witchcraft. And they kind of go and they try to find out what about witchcraft is broken. I haven't read the full thing, but I'm excited to check it out.
It's a Scarlet Witch series, a comic series, right? And the story or concept is called Witch's Road. And I remember about the ghost of Agatha appearing because at that point in the comics, Agatha was dead. But it's like, dude, she's a witch. She can just show up as a ghost. It's great.
So this picture really gave off Witch's Road vibes to us, both sort of like, I don't know what the sentence means.
A plane of existence where only sorcerers are allowed.
Right.
We don't hire John to read, ladies and gentlemen.
That's not a sentence.
Yeah, I mean, and I think at this point fans have, and I agree with Jay 100%, kind of determined like they're gonna have to bring Billy and Tommy back at some point. They're famous members of the Young Avengers. We can't necessarily wait for the kid actors who played them in WandaVision to like age up.
Right.
And on top of that too, I think that like Billy's sexuality is kind of important to the character.
Right.
He ends up in a relationship with the character Hulkling. And
not a Hulk.
Not a Hulk. He's a Skrull Kree. You're right. That's right. It's one of the best twists of Young Avengers. But anyway, so I think in that regard, I think it's important for Marvel Studios to like look for a queer actor to play that character. Right? You can't.
Hey, listen, Marvel's going woke. Damn it.
No. Oh no, Marvel's doing what the comics are.
They're gonna do. I don't want my comics having queers in them. Like, and that's literally what's gonna happen because if they literally take it from, if they take it exact. From the source material, as everybody likes to complain about consistently, take it from the source material. He is in a relationship. It's like, oh, see, they went woke, blah, blah, blah. No, it's right there.
Right. It's just going to show, again, another piece of evidence that anytime people cry about that stuff, it's just them showing their ass. Because it's like, oh, you're not actually a fan of the comic books. You don't. But anyway, all of that, people pointing to this actor, people pointing to this character, I think that's likely what's going to happen. I've got a take also on that featurette. Talking about Taika Waititi. You want to talk about that?
Should we get into that now?
I mean, sure. Only because you're referring to the Variety article / tweet that just came out with the headline where it's like Taika said he didn't read Thor comics when he was a kid. And he didn't want to make this movie, but he did it because he was like, I just had a second kid and it's going to be great for my family. And that Variety headline makes him look like an asshole. Yeah. And it also makes Marvel look like assholes, that they just only make movies just to make money as opposed to like, there's some creative reasoning for them to want to make certain projects. And the reason I bring this up is because in this very featurette, after they had made WandaVision, which seemed kind of like a no-brainer, but it's not like there was ever a comic called WandaVision. That was sort of a Marvel Studios Kevin Feige pitch, right, to turn it into this TV show thing. Jack Schaefer is talking about how she was discussing other Marvel projects with Marvel Studios, like maybe I can work on this, maybe I can work on this, but she kept bringing up Agatha.
And everything.
And Kevin Feige said to her apparently, maybe we should just do an Agatha Harkness show. And she went, great, where do I sign up? That's what I want to do. So to me, that's the proof of like, look, Marvel Studios can understand a good thing when they have it. Catherine Hahn as this character is a great, like, why not do that? Just because Agatha has never really had her own comic series that they're trying to adapt, they're taking a creative choice.
Do you think that's it now? Do you think that could bite them in the ass? Because
I mean, sure, it's a risk.
It's a risk because Agatha has been only supplemental to other characters.
Sure.
So now you're gonna make a possibly 6-episode run.
Sure.
Like I said, Catherine Hahn's amazing.
Yeah.
We all were singing Agatha all along.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but there's a risk. There's a risk. But all I'm saying is that at least that's something where like Marvel Studios is not just beholden to we have to keep adapting these comics. We got to give Thor 3 movies because Thor is an important comic. But like they saw that Thor: The Dark World wasn't that great. They saw the movie Boy from Taika and they went, man, imagine if we got that director to work on something with our characters, how great it would be. And so they pitched Thor to Taika and he said, yeah. And then, in my opinion, gave us the best Thor film, Thor Ragnarok, which I love. So, and it's still an issue of can Taika put in himself into the project he was assigned, Thor Ragnarok, and I think he did. But also made a kick-ass Thor movie, in my opinion. So it's just frustrating to see Variety try to be like, this director just took the job for the money. When it's like, that's not...
But some directors do.
That's what they do. But also, I've seen Taika Waititi talk about how much he did appreciate, even though he was like, the comics I looked at were kind of impenetrable. I've seen him say that before. You know, the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, original 60s. Like, he was just like, I couldn't, like, figure it out. But I also saw him talk about him reading the Jason Aaron stuff with Jane Foster turning into Thor and him being like, this stuff is beautiful. It's fantastic. And that inspired him to come back and do Love and Thunder. So
I'll say this too, right? Like, I used to work deeper in the film industry proper. I was the assistant for a lit manager, which is someone who represents directors and writers. And my experience, I don't know Taika personally. My experience with that was, you know, it's probably true that he took the meeting
for sure because
with money in mind,
of course.
But you go to Marvel, you take a general, whatever it is. A general is basically just like, hey,
let's get to know you.
We like you. We want to meet with you. We don't have anything in particular in mind, but
are there any things you're interested in? And you know,
I'm sure they had a general with Taika. They started talking about things. Usually, when you're in these generals, the person who's the creative will kind of be like, "What are you guys working on that you're looking for people for?" I'm sure Thor was one of the people. He hadn't had a movie in a little while. And my expectation is Taika probably, again, I don't know him personally, probably took the meeting with the idea of like, oh, this would be great for my family.
Set me up.
And then talked to Chris and talked to Kevin and found a way into the project. Now, you could maybe make the argument that he did Thor Love and Thunder without maybe having a really personal connection to another story.
Sure.
Because that film maybe feels a little less personal and fully baked.
But Jay has said too, and I kind of agree with what Jay said. You've said that like you feel like that's more of Hemsworth.
Yeah, that's Hemsworth.
And doing, he just wanted to be more comedic, which is like, I get, but you know.
Yeah. Look, there's the level of the stars doing one thing and then director directing.
Right.
And this felt more of the star trying to direct as well.
But the point is, we're not talking about
but we're not going to talk about that yet.
We're going back to what you're sort of saying is like...
There's no one who's going to spend a full year of their life for a paycheck.
Exactly.
Right? You have to find a way to love it. Especially when it comes to making a movie, which you're on set, you go to work for 14, 16 hours a day as a director. Then the very next morning, before you show up on set, you look at all the shit you shot the day before to try to decide, hey, is this working? Do I need to change? So this man's probably working, you know, 18, 19, 20-hour days some days, getting no sleep, trying to put these films together. So there's no reality, in my opinion, in which you can solely do a project on the level of a Marvel film solely for the cash. He was in a place in his career after Hunt for the Wilder People. He could have done any crazy cash grab movie that he wanted to. And, you know,
he did Jojo Rabbit.
And he, you know, he's still doing those types of films. It's like Christopher Nolan used to sort of do, you know, he would do a Batman movie, then he would do The Prestige. He would do a Batman movie, he would do Inception. He would do a Batman movie.
And my frustration also about this whole thing is that, like, I think sometimes comic book fans, you got to let go of the concept of like, there's not people walking around in Hollywood being like, man, my favorite's the Eternals, and I should be the person to make that movie. If you think that, you're insane. It's Marvel that has to pitch those characters and ideas to the creatives to get them excited about what the thing is. Other than there's rare instances where, like, you know, again, going back to the TV side, Jack Schaefer being so excited about Agatha, or Jessica Gao taking meetings with Marvel and continuing to pitch things, and she would sneak in She-Hulk into all of her projects until Marvel announced the She-Hulk show in one of their investor calls. And the very next day, Jessica Gao called him up like, if you guys don't let me run this show, because she loves that character so much, she jokingly said, I'm going to burn this mother down. And then she ended up being the head writer showrunner because she had such a... And I'm happy she did, and I loved the She-Hulk show, and I loved her input on it. But that's rare. That doesn't often happen.
And I think your point with Jack Schaefer is interesting because Agatha Harkness is an original Jack Schaefer character.
Basically,
right? Agatha is in the comics, but it's like an older woman and more of a mentor, and like,
look,
it's a very different situation.
Going back, it's the same with Haley Atwell, Agent Carter. Kind of an original, and that success, those producers of the first Captain America movie, they then produced the ABC show for 2 seasons. And same with even looking at the success of Coulson, right? What a fantastic original character for the MCU. Clark Gregg's Phil Coulson. And ABC Television was like, let's have him be the lead of the show. So there's an opportunity to do the original stuff and not just be beholden to the comic books.
Right.
But there's also this element of you can't just pull a headline like that to make Taika Waititi look like a dick. Because
that's what I hate to say it. That's what these
Variety,
shows have been
man.
doing for, especially Variety. Variety been doing that
We've seen
a lot over the past 6 months.
We've seen it over the Marvels, near the Costa. It sucks, dude.
Refocusing here for a second. We want to get to a couple more images from this featurette because they are really interesting, especially this next one. These next two are kind of related. So this is interesting. This is a new image. This is not from WandaVision. But this is her outfit from, if you remember, episode I think 5 or 6 of WandaVision when Billy and Tommy are first born. If you remember her like kind of rocking both cradles at the same time with this crazy outfit. So this scene takes place in congruency with parts of WandaVision. So it'll be WandaVision seems like it'll maybe be either flashbacks or some of the show will take place concurrently with the events of WandaVision, and we'll see some of this all alonging that we kind of got teased.
Cool.
But if we show the next image, same scene, or maybe this isn't the exact same scene, but
same location.
We see it's the same location. We see obviously a body with a little foot tag at a morgue, and we see Agatha here. That's not the same outfit, but in the previous image, the costumes that she had, there's also another shot of her in this morgue, in that costume.
And this outfit, I think, is from when they were still doing the black and white.
That seems right.
Dick Van Dyke episode,
right? So if we could keep this back up.
So and this camera on the left, John, what is that? Could that be Kevin from She-Hulk Attorney at Law?
Exactly.
Okay, good. Okay.
Now, and this is Jack Schaefer here in the red.
Okay.
So a couple things. We know that Agatha is going to be in this location in 2 different costumes in 2 different periods, which is really interesting.
Go ahead and answer your question.
Okay, Jay has a
Well, I suppose my question is like, a morgue is a really kind of odd location. Is she trying to bring someone back? Is she trying to use people who have passed away to, puppet more people in Westview? Like, what's the situation here? Evan, I think, had some rumors about what this might all mean.
The rumors?
But Jay, go ahead.
Hold on the hole. Jay.
Agatha Christie, what if she's trying to solve things?
Ooh, I like that.
So, here's the rumor. The rumor is Agatha will find Wanda's body in the morgue, and then her own. Interesting.
Oh. What? Okay.
Which is kind of, this is, again, a rumor. It could have been made up by anyone on the internet.
We don't have to go to Evan. Sorry, Evan. Go on.
And this is the way of, like, Agatha realizing that maybe there's some cracks in the spell, because you see, I think in this exact costume, she's sitting in the car, and Vision kind of, like, pokes her on the head, and she's like, am I dead? She says, am I dead?
Here's what I do want to bring up.
And then Vision says, no, why would you think that? And then she says, because you are. So there is, like, a little bit of, like,
Here's a question
I
have for you and for Evan, if you want to chime in. I didn't mean to exclude you, buddy. Here's a question, because I want to bring up the Marvel timeline, if I may. If I can get nerdy for a second, okay?
No, there is no such thing.
No, there is. WandaVision, the show, takes place 3 weeks after Endgame.
Right.
And Endgame ended in the year 2023.
That's right.
In the fall. And so WandaVision was not that long after when Wanda lost her mind.
Right now.
And it all happened in the fall, and I guess maybe kind of going into like winter of 2023.
Right.
Now, Multiverse of Madness, right? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness took place about a year later in the fall, in the autumn-fall of 2024. And that was Scarlet Witch going full-blown Scarlet Witch, and at the end of that, she maybe kills herself when she drops the mountain on herself on Mount Wundagore. So if you're talking about Wanda's body, could this show, Agatha, take place after the events of Multiverse of Madness, like going into 2024, 2025, and Agatha's been in the spell this whole time? Or
and
you guys
Wanda's magic
somehow
has carried over.
Put her body, like put the Wanda Maximoff body back into the hex. Into the hex or something, right, of Westview? Or is Agatha taking place a little sooner?
The hex that's in here, by the way, for people wondering.
Right.
Because the hex physically is gone.
Agatha's hex and her mental hex.
Yeah.
Or does it take place a little sooner after the events of WandaVision, still in the year 2023 or going into early 2024? What do we all think? Gentlemen, Evan, gentlemen?
I think it's the in-between. I think it's the in-between. I think a lot of these shows...
So where does Wanda's body... That's just a whole fake body to begin
That's probably just a whole fake body. Again, Wanda's... Remember, Agatha's gone batshit crazy now.
Right, she's in a hex.
She's in a hex.
And Wanda's off studying the Darkhold. So you think she'd like put a fake body in Westview?
She probably in her vision of Westview.
Okay.
Because
that'd be interesting, right? Yeah. She's like, I don't want this bitch to keep fucking following me.
So
she's her full Scarlet Witch self now.
And she's studying. She's in the mountains or something.
Right.
Okay.
So this is the end, but I think that's the thing too. This is that moment in between.
Okay.
I think this isn't after. I doubt it's after Multiverse of Madness.
It might lead into that.
It might lead to that. I think this is that moment right in between the two. Where what was Wanda doing when she ended up in the forest and everything?
Right.
We saw her at the end.
Right.
You know, we saw her at the end of WandaVision going having the Darkhold reading it, this, that, and the third. But then everything that leads to, you know, finally having Strange coming through.
Her discovering America Chavez.
Yes, all these different.
You know,
because she had to discover America somehow, some way. Yeah. So I think that's what this is. That's this little bit of time.
It could be
in between.
Not to knock Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Real fun Sam Raimi movie. This could be Jack Schaefer being like, I'm going to fill in the cracks a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to fill in the blanks.
Because this from going to WandaVision to Doctor Strange, everybody has said feels a little disconnected.
Yes.
So maybe Agatha could connect it a little bit more. Evan, any thoughts?
Yeah, the other half of the rumor that I forgot to include is that the reason she is looking for this body is that she's trying to solve a case. She's trying to be a detective. She's
Agatha Christie.
Agatha Christie, like Jay said. So.
And every TV show ever right now always has to have a mystery in it to try to, right? Like,
thank God, because you know we would be out of business if they did it.
Even Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV Plus. That's like the MonsterVerse show. There's a mystery of like, what happened to this character's dad? It's like the show's like, just show me kaiju shit. They're like, no, what happened to this character's dad? Come back next week.
Speaking of my dad, it's probably no secret now that Kelsey Grammer cameos as Beast at the end of the Marvels.
John Costa's real last name? Grammer.
That's right. Actually, I don't want to be associated with that man.
Nepo baby. Yeah, he's bad. Do you guys remember when he fell down when he was talking about Disneyland? It's the funniest shit on the internet. It's so funny. You guys know, Evan, you know what I'm talking about. When he's on the stage and he's making a speech about Disneyland and then he falls, he goes, oh dear God. And
it's great.
It's great. Anyway.
Insert that right now. So Kelsey Grammer appears in this post-credit scene for the Marvels. Spoiler if you haven't seen the Marvels. That's on you, honestly. You're watching this. You haven't seen that.
What's he promoting? The Frasier reboot?
Probably.
Okay.
Cool. When asked about returning to the future MCU property, here's what he had to say.
Yeah.
It is my hope that you will. I'm not going to do an impression.
You could do it.
I'm not going to do it. I haven't seen Frasier.
Niles. That's how you have to get into it.
Niles.
It is my hope that you will see him again. Him being Beast. I can say with a certain amount of confidence that you will. I would love to.
Right.
Which is a little thirsty thespian-y.
Okay.
Do we still have that?
What are you talking about? Thirsty thespian-y? Okay, maybe. It's in there. Great.
Oh!
I don't like that. What is that?
What is that?
I can't believe you guys haven't seen that before.
Too gooey.
Wow.
Don't like it.
So glad we brought that back.
Don't like it. Don't show it to me again. Don't show it to me again.
No, don't do it again. Don't run that back.
So what I was saying, let's see it again.
No, John, no, please don't. No, please do not. No, gross.
So here's what I was saying. We were talking about this before stream. Is this not going to be another in a long line of post-credit scenes that do not resolve?
No.
We have Scorpion. We have Clea. We have Hercules. We have Eros. Am I forgetting any?
Probably. Wait, you said Scorpion, Clea, sure, Hercules, Eros. Wait, what else? There's some other ones. I mean, are we counting things like... Scar
from She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
That's right. Hulk's son Scar. Here's another one. If we're counting things like story threads that are left unresolved. At the end of Shang-Chi, Shang-Chi's sister is now the head of the Ten Rings.
Right.
Those kinds of things. My thing about specifically the Marvel's mid-credit scene or post-credit scene, of course we're going to see that stuff again. Why? We got a Deadpool movie coming out. It's already bringing back Hugh. You know it's gonna be difficult to resist bringing in the Fox X-Men actors that people might have nostalgia for to sort of give them a send-off.
I wouldn't be surprised if they hybrid build them together. Like you bring some of the ones from the Days of Future Past universe as
potentially.
The McAvoy universe, and then of course Kelsey Grammer is from the Stewart universe. But I think nobody's gonna tell you automatically, yeah, I'm coming back.
I know.
They can't.
I don't know. Patrick Stewart. I think didn't Patrick Stewart do an interview where he's like, me and Ian are coming back.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart is 97 years old.
I'm not mad at him.
Say whatever he wants. Anybody will be mad.
Say what you want.
He's 97 years old.
But I think the key here is that the story is because Beast was next to Binary,
yes,
right? Maria Rambeau,
yes,
and he mentioned Charles, and it's involved with Monica being trapped in another universe.
You're right. We'll see Monica again.
We will see Monica again. We'll see Lashana Lynch is playing Maria, playing Binary,
and this is a different X-Men too.
Yes,
because it is not going to be Patrick Stewart as Charles because of Binary. That's the automatic thing. What you don't like to hear that?
Wait, why so?
Disagree.
When was Binary in the X-Men
comics?
In the Fox X-Men universe?
Never. No, off to the side.
But I know that I think Eric has already put out a video about this of like which X-Men, right? Because we also had Patrick Stewart in Multiverse of Madness got murked, got killed, but he was in. Look, the cool connection there is he was in that iconic yellow hover chair, like the animated series,
right?
And this Kelsey Grammer Beast was a full CG animated Beast. Very much looks like the iconic animated series Beast.
So this is X-Men 97 in real life.
I mean, the same way that Multiverse of Madness was X-Men 97 in real life. Yes. And I think the way that Hugh Jackman in the yellow outfit is X-Men 97 in real life. So I think there may be an opportunity to actually refer to the definitive Fox X-Men universe of films. Logan, Days of Future Past, whatever. But I think Marvel Studios is maybe just kind of doing their own take just as an excuse to put these actors, I keep pointing at John's shirt, it's great, to put these actors in the X-Men animated series kind of more iconography to be able to say, oh, Kelsey Grammer got to be...
So Anna Paquin is going to be our Rogue?
Not all
this
the actors.
This is a one and done. They're coming back for 15 minutes
in Deadpool and in Secret Wars.
Yes.
Yeah, and look, maybe not Anna Paquin, maybe not honestly even any of the McAvoy era. Okay. And I'll tell you why, because I think they're going with the older characters and older actors too.
I want my friend back in the movie.
Here's the deal.
Look, I used to talk shit about it. I want Alexandra back. Okay?
She's wonderful, and I think that she's so good. And in Barbie and everything. Yeah, but I think that Marvel is going to be really careful about the casting of some of the iconic characters, Storm included,
of course,
in their sort of future, their version of the thing. So that's why I think they're going Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Kelsey Grammer,
give them their respect,
Ian McKellen, because they're older, so that when the MCU, Marvel Studios, is like, and we're done with Secret Wars, and we're in the next saga.
Here's our 15, 20-year plan actors.
Yes, here's our younger actors playing these characters. Yeah. And maybe we're going to have black actors play Charles Xavier or Meg. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think
Did you hear what Hector said?
Oh, whoa. Listen, man, my take is I'm hoping to get maybe a Latino Scott Summers or you know what I mean?
Give me Giancarlo Esposito as Charles Xavier.
It would be fantastic.
Not as Magneto.
I know, it would be fantastic. He can be really heartwarming. He can be really, but all of this to say, I think Kelsey could come back because of the Monica of it.
Yes.
But then we're gonna say goodbye to him. Bye, and then there'll be a new actor playing Hank McCoy.
Yes.
So one of the places that we could see these characters come back is
Deadpool
Avengers 3. Kang Dynasty.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe less likely than Deadpool 3 or Secret Wars.
Sure.
But the writer of Avengers Secret Wars has just been added to
Good segue.
Avengers Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
This is interesting for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, there were rumors that he was going to be removed from Secret Wars.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Seems like that's not happening now.
Right.
He's writing both. This is Michael Waldron, by the way, the creator of Loki, the writer of Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reason number two.
Reason number two. What was I saying?
This is interesting for two reasons.
And we're on reason two.
Reason number two.
He knows the story. Remember,
I guess the reason is if he's writing both movies now, there's a chance maybe that they'll be a little bit more connected than they had a shot at being earlier.
Also, remember, for everything they said from Loki, they want things maybe things can start feeling like Loki going forward. What's the best way to have it feel like the one thing you've compared it to than to have the creator and writer write this? So now he can write a full through storyline all the way to the end.
Like maybe the TVA will really appear in Kang Dynasty. Whereas before it was like, they might, right? But it wasn't like a sort of a lock, and maybe this would maybe make more sense.
And from Marvel's perspective, that was the second thing I was going to say.
Yeah, okay. The real second.
Back, baby.
Okay.
A lot of speculation that maybe this movie's not going to be called Kang Dynasty anymore.
It could change. Sure.
It could still change, but you announce a new writer on the project. You don't need to make that announcement.
Sure.
But they always
You don't need to talk about it.
They might.
They always do it, though. Every time they change writers, it's always a press release.
You're keeping the same title of the film. I just think it's interesting. If Marvel's had serious plans about changing how that
right.
film was going to go,
this could be
they would probably hire a new writer
for sure.
But they would probably say like, okay, it's now going to be called Doom Dynasty, and this is the person who's writing it or whatever. I'm not saying Doom Dynasty is 100% the direction they were going to go in, but like, I think that they would, if they were going to make a significant change, they would have.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Bring in the writer. Well, I mean, first of all, it's not going to be called Doom Dynasty, okay?
No,
because
it's not.
That's too close to Duck Dynasty. And
why does that matter?
It matters because you don't want your movie called that. But it's also like the Kang Dynasty is a title from a storyline in the comics.
Of course.
Doom has his own titles like Doom War or whatever. But I know people have mentioned this. I think even in the new Rockstar Slack, you guys were chatting like, and I'm in there. Don't think I'm not in there.
I was just like, how's Hector in the Slack?
I'm in there.
Lurking.
Somebody added me by mistake, and I'm in there. It's constantly like, yep. But
look at everybody's not going through Slack and get this one.
Delete. But you guys were chatting with like, look, it seemed like in the with the past setup of who was writing what, Jeff Loveness coming off of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was on the Kang Dynasty. Waldron was always on Secret Wars. Right. They're both writers who are friends. They know each other. They came from Rick and Morty.
Right.
Obviously, Marvel Studios yanked them both from the Rick and Morty type because they knew they were going to do multiverse shenanigans. Yep. And you guys were saying it's probably likely that they were already comparing notes, sharing notes, talking about, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to hand off the baton to you. So maybe this announcement isn't so much as shocking and sort of, oh, what a change, as it is that like maybe the confirmation is, they were already sort of going in this direction. Now we're going to have Michael kind of take over Kang to really get it to be more, consistent. I don't know.
And also, I agree with everything you said, first and foremost. Let me make sure
Jay.
I go with that.
Love you too.
I appreciate you so much, Hector. You don't understand. But also, to John's point, I don't think
he's wrong.
No,
he's fucking wrong.
He's off the right.
No, I think he's off the right, but I do think you have this thing, John, and this is not a bad thing. You think that every time they're going to make a quick decision, like a name change, they're going to instantly announce it. I think this Kang situation
was already in the works.
It's too big. Yeah, I think. Remember, we were on the show. We were on the show in the break room and said, I myself and I think it was Coy, or if it wasn't, it was you, Hector. We're like, Doom has been the plan probably all along. Because you're not going to change it to Kang from Kang Dynasty and like, well, if Kang isn't the big bad, why change his name? Because maybe the first half or the first 2/3 of this movie is about Kang.
And then Dr. Doom comes in
and now it leads you into Secret Wars.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back in your face, Jay, a little bit. I don't actually feel that way, that as soon as a decision is made, it gets in. I bet that this writer change happened before the strike.
Really?
I bet. Yeah, just from my experience working on lit desks, so often a deal closes and like it doesn't come out in the trades for 6 months.
This is true.
And
right?
to be fair, too, Kang Dynasty, as far as we know it, what year is that movie being released?
25.
That's 2025. We're 2 years out.
Pushed, right?
Oh, it's definitely because it needs to be shooting now.
Right. So that, and then Secret Wars after that, maybe 6 months to a year after that. Maybe we're only hearing about these kinds of news things now because these changes are happening now.
But I wouldn't be surprised if those either shoot
had already. I see what you're saying.
They probably going to shoot. I wouldn't be surprised they shoot concurrently.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Neither of those movies have directors.
This is very true.
Right. Destin
no longer directing Kang Dynasty.
Because he's like, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to do Shang-Chi right now. So good.
You know what else too is we also have to keep in mind, and I always forget, which is wild to me. The Russos and Marcus McFeely and Marcus and McFeely were writing and producing Infinity War and Endgame, but they were also as they were working on that, and I remember all the behind the scenes footage where they had an Infinity Saga comics omnibus on a desk with a bunch of notes in there, they're planning everything. As they were doing that, they were also sort of seeing how all the dominoes fell with the rest of the Marvel movies, including a big swing in tonal shift to Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
They really had to be Taika, what are you doing over there to where we're going to have Thor enter the story?
Yep.
And so they were sort of seeing where everything was at, Civil War, how that ended, and, they were working on that. But, where's Thor? Where are the rest of the Avengers?
Where's the Guardians?
Where's the Guardians at with Volume 2? And James Gunn, what are you doing and what are you setting up? And doing all that stuff to then, feed into their big movie.
Right.
And I'm sure there were a lot of, I don't want to say last-minute changes, but they had to wait for that stuff to,
because the very
be filmed and edited.
Because the very beginning of Infinity War is
the end of Ragnarok.
Is the end of Ragnarok.
So right now, I feel as though Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
They're generally mapping it out, but they're shit, man, do we need to do Shang-Chi 2 first? Like, Destin, should you go do that to kind of set it up, and then
we feed this in,
and then we feed it into Kang
Dynasty?
Dynasty?
Have 3 unannounced movies come out before King Dynasty.
Really?
And that is
Go.
Spider-Man 4.
Okay.
You need you need that movie to come out before Spider-Man is going to be in any other big Avengers movie.
Can I throw one quick little side note on that? But remember your other 2. Side note is Spider-Man famously gets his black suit in Secret Wars.
That's right.
Could that little moment potentially happen there, and then Spider-Man 4 takes
place
right
afterwards?
I don't know. But keep going. But keep going.
The other way around.
Okay. That's fine. Keep going.
Spider-Man 4.
Okay.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange 3. Yeah, with Clea and incursions.
Yeah,
I kind of agree with that.
You gotta have Doctor Strange. Probably is the new
Sorcerer
like
Supreme?
the new like magic leader of the Avengers, right? You've got Captain America on one side, you got Doctor Strange on the other side.
I see. But
because I hate to be the guy to do this because I'm watching our producer Evan go through a thing over there, and it's gotta be hard.
He's like, question? You got a question?
He's just like, how much time I gotta do? He has to keep going.
No, finish the last one.
Okay, and the third?
The third one I think is Shang-Chi 2.
Maybe.
What are the purpose of the rings?
A couple things we gotta talk about these rings, but also Shang-Chi. If Marvel's looking at their current slate of characters, Shang-Chi is the character, in my opinion, that is new and has resonated with audiences the
great
most.
Movie.
And they need that character to have a little bit more of a spotlight before that character is going to be integral
into the Avengers.
I think that's why they hired Destin Daniel Cretton originally to do
because I think
he was on Spotlight.
Probably going to be
a
character, right?
I agree.
Those 3 movies I think have to come out before.
I'll also say, I think I agree with you 100%, and maybe Moon Knight Season 2 needs to come out before, which I think rumors is like happening. They've scouted it. They might film it, because I think Oscar Isaac's Moon Knight is going to be in Avengers Kang Dynasty. And I think the connection is going to be Moon Knight Season 2 is going to have more sort of Egyptian stuff. Rama-Tut, that's what I'm saying.
If you want to hear us answer more questions, come hang out with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/BreakroomNR. We are here most days on the week from 3 to 4. Anyways, that's my plug. Follow Jay on Twitter at Mr. J Washington.
And Instagram, please. Please, I need to get these numbers
Follow
up,
Hector on Twitter at Hector is Funny.
And Instagram.
And follow New Rockstars at New Rockstars wherever you get your followers. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
Great combos, gentlemen. Great combos. Great job.